3 times as long as the biggest living crocodile and 6 times as heavy, this dinosaur had monstrous power.
Can we stop with this awesome bro bullshit, please?
This documentary is making Jurassic Fight Club look like walking with dinosaurs.
Hey, Dino. Look what's been uploaded on YouTube for free during the quarantine.
Ooh, what?
The entirety of Jurassic Fight Club. I haven't seen this since I was 5.
It's been a while since I watched this myself, actually. Shall we check out a few episodes?
Hey, I think I've seen this episode a couple times, but wait. Isn't there another episode with this theme? Which one should we watch?
Why not both?
2 shitty documentaries later. Well, looks like we got a gold mine of content here. Let's do this shit.
No wonder we haven't watched this in so long. Has so many problems.
Now this is gonna make Monsters Resurrected look like Walking with Dinosaurs. Boy, do we owe that an apology.
Indeed. If you could not tell, in this review, we'll be reviewing the 2 Morse information-based episodes of Jurassic Fight Club, which are episodes 4, Bloodiest Battle, and episode 6, Hunter Becomes Hunted.
Christ, I'm cringing just reading those titles.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other. And just wait till we actually dive into the episodes themselves.
The bloodiest battle of the prehistoric era.
The first 9 seconds are horrendous. Holy gosh, the editing!
And the first 9 seconds reminds me why rewatching this was such a pain in the neck.
I have no idea what they were thinking.
I mean, they probably thought it was cool, but typically when someone thinks it's cool, it's usually not. And this was most likely written by old smelly men.
It happened about 150 million years ago.
Dinosaurs? That won't evolve for another 40 million years at least. Is this supposed to be Camptosaurus? Well, if it is, you're lying. That's clearly a Tenontosaurus. You're even recycling it from episode 3.
This is reminding me of something else already.
The Earth was much different than it is now. In what will become North America, a shallow sea has begun to split the continent.
What the hell are we looking at Pangea? It should already have broken in half at this point. That's a Triassic landmass. Which, by the way, there's no episodes in the Triassic period. Don't get your frickin' hopes up.
Well, I guess by Jurassic Fight Club, they really meant Jurassic and afterwards Fight Club.
Well, you can't have Tyrannosaurus if it's exclusive to the Jurassic.
Increasing oxygen levels allowed dinosaurs to grow taller than a 6-story building. Long-necked, 4-legged dinosaurs.
Hey, it's what people think Allosaurus is. Well, these people at least.
This lake in particular will be the scene of a prehistoric bloodbath.
Hey, they're going for the predator trap hypothesis, which has been debunked. This could just be a case of science marching on, but I'm going to roast them for it anyway because they frickin' deserve it.
Walking with Dinosaurs covers this better in 5 seconds than this will ever do in an hour.
Well, there's less blood in it, so the Awesome Bros think it's
Fast forward 150 million years. 30 miles south of Price, Utah.
sheep in the United States? Impossible.
Suddenly, he sees something protruding from the soil. A decade would pass before paleontologists would launch an investigation. Today, the site is called the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry.
So at least we're not Detroit!
And what was found here would rock the scientific world.
Oh wow, look at this beautiful Camarasaurus skull.
Too bad it won't be transitioned to the model. As far as I know, it's a fucking joke on the audience.
More on the Pac-Man over here later.
Investigators uncovered one set of remains, then another, then another. Soon, they had uncovered something stunning. Thousands of bones.
The Cleveland Lloyd Quarry is absolutely one of the most remarkable fossil sites in the world.
Hey, Dinosaur George!
One of the best parts of this documentary. Sadly, He will not be enough to save this shit. Paleontology expert? Why is it written this way?
Shouldn't it just state paleontologist?
Yes, and it would be less of an asshole move by implying that he's not a professional.
Over 15,000 individual bones have come out of this quarry. Paleontologists think that that's not even half the amount of bones that are still buried in the ground. It's an amazing sight, but one of the first things you have to ask is, why are so many bones from so many different kinds of dinosaurs assembled in that one location?
Now, for the Cleveland Lloyd, there are three main theories. A drought. B, predator trap, which is probably what they're going with, because mass murder. And C, botulinum toxin in the water, probably from rotting corpses and poop.
Then, another revelation. Among all of the bones found at the site, almost every
Acrocanthosaurus? What the hell? What is it doing here?
Again, just like that Tenontosaurus we saw earlier, the species did not evolve until the early Cretaceous period.
It's a contemporary of another episode, but they wanted the raptors to be the apex predators because they're frickin' idiots.
That only works in Utah raptor land.
Let's not talk about that episode.
Spherical!
The skeleton is nice, but why?
It's the same as having a Tyrannosaurus Rex here, which they'll probably do anyway, knowing their track record.
every herbivore bone recovered showed signs of being crushed, broken, and
Wait a second. That's a bone that's been bitten by a Tyrannosaurus. Well, Dino, pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
After this monstrosity.
bitten. Deep gashes were in some bones. Others had been somehow pulverized. How did all of these dinosaurs die at this one site?
Taphonomy is basically looking at what happened to a fossil from the time of death of an animal until it actually is buried and fossilized. And
Why are they showing this? Did they think the 12-year-olds would enjoy this? Well, probably, considering the actual fans of this are typically the Nothing Personnel kid Sonic OC makers. What the hell is Majungasaurus here? It wouldn't evolve until the end of the Cretaceous. It likely saw the asteroid that spelled their doom.
Not to mention this editing, again. Were they trying to give the viewers a headache?
Yes, at best.
Taphonomy evidence revealed that the site was once a freshwater lake bed, but why was it filled with so many bones?
During times of extreme drought, the water levels in the lake can shrink pretty rapidly.
No, I thought they would have become larger. Stop stating the obvious.
Well, they need to pan out the runtime somehow.
Headbutt you! I'm gonna headbutt you! I'm gonna headbutt
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
As they shrink, what happens is the upper layer of mud sort of becomes dry when underneath it remains pretty wet and sticky.
Did they just say wet and sticky? What have I got? Must resist. Will bite you.
Oh no, not again.
So as animals walk out across this to get to the water and get a drink, they get stuck. Their weight causes them to crack through the upper crust, and that's when they get stuck, and you're not going to get out.
Multiple species would come to drink here. Then, another breakthrough. Investigators identified one of the dinosaurs.
I am a Stegosaurus. Beautiful stego.
Yes, this model has some great coloration, actually. Wow.
And it's quite accurate for 2008. Surprising.
Considering that in the future we'll see a much more inaccurate Stegosaurus design.
The only thing I could point out that's a negative is no throat armor or ontogeny, but everyone seems to forget that throat armor exists. Or in the case of ontogeny, we didn't have very many young stegos until the discovery of Sophie, which won't happen for a while.
There's nothing in the world today that looks like a Stegosaurus. And it just was so peculiar.
Hey, haven't we seen you before?
With that long, cone-shaped head and this big curved back.
Hey, it's the Jurassic World Stegosaurus, and it's where it belongs, fucking dead.
Why do they still pose the skeletons of Stegosaurus like this anyways?
Because they haven't changed it since 1890.
It was just so different from anything known, past or present.
Are you sure about that?
You are aware that there's an entire family of stegosaurs like Stegosaurus, right? In fact, some of them are even weirder than Stegosaurus, but f them, I guess.
Its name means roof lizard.
What?
for the 17 plates arranged in a double row along its back. These plates ranged in height from 4 inches to almost 3 feet and gave Stegosaurus its unique appearance.
Some people think they look sexy. Perhaps female stegosaurs really like the look of the plates on the male stegosaurus.
Scott Hartman, what the hell are you doing here? Honestly, I thought you would have looked different.
What contract did you sign in order to be a part of this?
You're probably pointing a gun at his head off camera.
Hit the bricks, pal, you're done.
Some people think that perhaps it played a role in thermal regulation, that is, heating up or cooling down the animal.
Well, that's not totally outdated.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
And of course, to some degree, they would have played a defensive role in the sense that they would have been very hard to bite should you try to bite that part of the stegosaur. Personally, I favor the sexiness hypothesis. It's kind of more fun to say.
Why and who decided to write sexiness in the script for this show that could most likely have children watching it? Oh wait, we watched it as kids.
Is the guy who directed Dinosaur King secretly ghostwriting this one with Jack Horner?
Oh no!
The Stegosaurus found at the site stood 14 feet tall, measured about 28 feet in length, and weighed 3 tons.
Why are they using Stenops's weight, but Ungulatus's height and length? Fun fact, Ungulatus is also the Stegosauruses in the Lost World Jurassic Park, you know, the good ones from the Jurassic franchise.
Their front legs were shorter than their rear, making them a slow-moving dinosaur, but far from helpless.
Stegosaurs are very much like their armored cousins, the ankylosaurs.
Hey, it's Jim Kirkland. How's the Utah Raptor Project going? I feel like I need to donate to that as penance for this thing.
Hopefully he received a paycheck as well.
Probably not, since the History Channel had far better uses for that money.
Cocaine's are very much like their armored cousins, the ankylosaurs, in having very small forelegs and very long hind legs. This allows them to move the front quarters around, pivoted around a small point, and use the long legs to move the back end very fast around that same point, keep the tail pointed toward what they're attacking.
Why are they using a Gastonia skeleton here? Stop spoiling episode 7.
Man, they sure do like using random dinosaur skeletons.
Why not use Gargoylosaurus? At least it lived in the Morrison. Sure, it's not found at the site. But since Saurophagenax is also not from the site...
Stegosaurus would have utilized 2 weapons for protection. First was its tail spikes, 4 cone-shaped hellraisers.
Who you calling pinhead?
Why are they calling them tail spikes instead of their correct term, phagomizers?
They actually are way too small. They're only using the bone cores as size references, as there were most likely a keratinous sheath on the phagomizers, likely adding a foot or 2 in length, but they were likely too lazy to do that, so...
Those are the greatest dinosaur weapons ever found.
Ankylosaurus would like to have a word with you. Also, parent, is this secretly being written by Korean documentary makers as well? Is Ed the Badass gonna show up?
These spikes are incredible weapons.
The tail here is actually quite too flexible. It's only able to move side to side.
By swinging that tail, if he strikes you with them, you're done for. Those spikes could penetrate bone, they could penetrate flesh, and they could cause an injury that would end the attacker's life.
Be like a big spiked mace, and I don't mean the stuff you spray, you know, on muggers, but rather a more medieval weapon, a big club that with...
Tail of Stegosaurus wouldn't have resembled a mace in function. It would be more like a baseball bat with nails in it, as maces were designed for priests to defend themselves without drawing blood.
Stegosaurus' tail, however, would certainly draw blood at the very least.
Scientists uncovered a second set of remains near the adult Stegosaurus. It was a second Stegosaurus, but this one was a baby.
Ah, a baby dinosaur in a show obsessed with death and destruction. This can't end well.
I give it 11 minutes.
One that stands out at the small end of the spectrum. It's a smaller animal.
Poor James Mason. He even sounds depressed.
And it looks like it's injured. It has a wound of some kind or another.
Not one, but 2 Stegosaurus, an adult and a baby, had somehow died in this death trap.
Possibly because it's known as a death trap?
Shallow bite marks found on the hip bones and ribs suggested that the baby had been attacked by a mid-sized predator. Scientists continued to investigate. Then a second species was identified. This one was 100 yards away from the two Stegosaurus. They belonged to a titan of the Jurassic world.
Some people at Universal might have been fans of this turd.
A long-necked dinosaur named Camarasaurus.
It's pronounced Camarasaurus, you nerds!
Wait, what? Why is it rearing up?
Don't worry, we'll cover that in a second.
Dinosaurs was the first dinosaur that showed that there were giant animals bigger than elephants with these long necks, heads full of plant-eating teeth, enormous sturdy legs, and gigantic...
Why are we looking at Brachiosaurus?
Because a certain Spielberg film made it a household name again, despite the fact it's one of, if not the rarest sauropod in the Morrison, and considering how many there are, that's an achievement.
They were the most common long-necked dinosaurs of the late Jurassic period. They could grow to a staggering 20 feet tall at the hips, measured 60 feet in length, and tipped the scales at 20 tons. That's 9 times the mass of an elephant.
Wait, hold on a moment. Why are they using the height and length of the species C. grandis and the weight of C. lentis?
Probably because they thought the sauropod went on a diet, even though that would be impossible for these guys.
Or they think all the species are the exact same animal.
Oh, so like the Isle fans. Joke's on you guys, I don't use Twitter.
Attacking a dinosaur this size would be like attacking your mother. Attacking a dinosaur this size would be like attacking a building.
Hey, the only good line in the entire documentary. This is actually a pretty great metaphor.
I'll be stealing that, thank you very much.
Camarasaurus got that big because few dinosaurs were as successful in its environment. Because few dinosaurs were as successful in its environment.
Should we tell them there are at least 10 more sauropods in the Morrison? Hell, there's 3 more in the Cleveland Lloyd alone.
Camarasaurus was very successful because it could feed from a variety of ranges. It could feed low at the ground, it could feed at about its shoulder height, and it may have been able to rear its head up on this long neck to feed high up in the trees.
So, you say that the massive 3D lane is unique to Camarasaurus, but Brachiosaurus had this feature too, so why is Brachiosaurus so rare and Camarasaurus common?
Probably due to niche partitioning, but they're too edgy to explain actual sauropod ecology, and would explain that Camarasaurus outcompeted Brachiosaurus, like something else in this documentary.
It also owed its success to a set of 5-inch long spoon-shaped teeth.
That jaw looks like shit. Moving on.
That paleontologists realized could defoliate entire trees at will.
Wait, no, it's chewing?
Ah, shit. Sauropod jaws do not work this way, as they were only able to open and close like most other reptiles. Their teeth were designed to rake down plants and digest them with gastrula, which we find in their stomach. Hell, one sauropod might have died due to swallowing one that was too large.
The remains of 3 Camarasauruses found together in Wyoming in 1997 suggested that these dinosaurs traveled in small herds.
Travel in herds, yet we are too lazy to animate more than 3 Camarasaurus at any given time. In Jurassic Fight Club, more like we don't give a shite in this club.
Also, half of the biomass of the Morrison Formation is diplodocids, yet none show up in this episode whatsoever, not even as a corpse. At least Walking with Dinosaurs had Triceratops show up as a corpse in the late Cretaceous episode. This place looks like a freaking Fallout map.
You think it's in West Virginia?
As the lake bed investigation continued, the mystery deepened.
Really big animals like Camarasaurus would have been pretty reluctant to walk out to the lake bed.
As plant eaters, they were not natural aggressors. As plant eaters, they were not natural aggressors. When they encountered a predator, Camarasaurus most likely relied on their sheer mass to act as a deterrent to a fight.
Why does the seemingly adult-sized Camarasaurus emit baby sounds?
Is it even supposed to be the baby, or is the bull that becomes stuck later.
At this point, the style of editing they picked is so goddamn confusing, even the editors can't make out what's going on.
Potential predators would probably do them in. If you'd want to be very careful around them. A large African elephant often weighs in the 5 to 6 ton range.
Why do these elephants not sound like elephants at all? They could have used stock elephant sounds for crying out loud.
I've seen elephants in cartoons that use better sound effects that aren't stock. Here, they're using sauropod sound effects because they're lazy. Jurassic Fight Club, we don't even know what elephants sound like.
Then Camarasaurus faces you. He's gonna wait till you get too close, and then he's gonna rear up on those hind legs and crush you.
This is most likely not accurate at all. Macronarians can't rear up. Even a basal one such as Camarasaurus would be unlikely to do it. If you wanted a sauropod that could rear up, you could use Apatosaurus or Barosaurus, which show up in the Cleveland Lloyd. But no! Let's use Camarasaurus because we need our damn cocaine money.
To the stands, it's a home run, game over.
But the deep wounds and gouge marks found in the bones at the watering hole.
What the hell is going on?
Did they think this technology screen editing looked cool? Did they think it looked good? Well, it doesn't. It looks like dog.
This isn't even telling us anything. It only makes everything even more confusing than it already is.
Hey, if you're confused enough, you'll believe anything they get out at you. And that's why the septic T-Rex bite theory is still alive to this day in the plebeians' eyes. Kill me now.
At the watering hole proved that no one was safe. There was a third monster at this site, and this one wasn't a plant eater. It was a true killing machine.
Rugops, a 30-foot-long killing machine.
This video is sponsored by myself. If you'd like, you can check out my official merch store in the description below. We just released a new line of products featuring this very cute Rugops drawing I made. All the profit made from this merch will help me make more content and continue to stay here on the platform. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this review.